Hi, I'm Bill Oreilly. Thanks for watching us tonight. The murder of Kate Steinle, that is the subject of this evening's Talking Points memo. As the Factor reported last night, 32-year-old Miss Steinle was murdered walking with her father in San Francisco, allegedly by a criminal alien who had been deported 5 times and had 7 felony convictions in the USA. That man, 45-year-old Juan Francisco Lopez Sanchez, now charged with murder. He was arraigned today in a San Francisco courtroom. Talking Point said last night that the mayor of San Francisco, Ed Lee, and the 11 city supervisors are directly responsible for Kate's death. That's because San Francisco is a sanctuary city that does not cooperate with the federal government, even on holding and identifying criminal aliens. Sanchez was in custody in San Francisco, and the sheriff, Ross Mercarimi, let him out, defying ICE officials.
Why not just inform ICE when you have a felon in your custody? Why not draw the line at some place where maybe you're protecting the public?
They already know he's in our custody. They actually knew because he came from serving time in another prison. Why
not work with them to make sure he doesn't get released?
Well, because a detainer request is not a legal instrument.
Oh, bull. The sheriff should resign immediately. I mean, what kind of law officer allows a known felon to walk free when the feds want him in custody? Asked him to keep him in custody. Sheriff's incompetent, period. Out of there. And so are the folks who run the city of San Francisco, most of whom are now hiding. CBS News caught up with San Francisco Supervisor Julie Christensen.
In the last 18 months, more than 10,000 undocumented immigrants have been released from custody in California without immigration officials being notified. Since Catherine Steinle's death, San Francisco's elected officials have been avoiding speaking about sanctuary. Julie Christensen is a member of the Board of Supervisors.
I'm not going to address that in detail.
The fact that if San Francisco wasn't a sanctuary city, would Kate still be alive?
I'm not going to go there.
Ms. Christensen is a coward. The cold truth is, Kate Steinle is collateral damage to the insane far-left politics that have long corrupted the city by the bay. Again, dangerous people are walking around because of political correctness. The mayor and the supervisors want to seem sympathetic to illegal aliens. That's what this is all about. Them and their liberal profile. The whole thing's absolutely disgusting. Now, there is some good news today, as Kate may not have died in vain. Senate Majority Leader Mitch McConnell has told the Factor he is meeting with the Senate leadership to discuss Kate's law. As we suggested last night, Congress should pass legislation that would impose a mandatory minimum 5-year sentence on any illegal alien that's deported and then comes back. The word mandatory is crucial. There are laws on the books now that are being ignored. Congress must write Kate's law so if officials do not enforce the mandatory sentence, they themselves can be prosecuted. Congressman Matt Salmon of Arizona tells us he is writing Kate's law even as we speak. The congressman is looking for co-sponsors. We hope representatives from both parties will sign on. If they do, we'll tell you who they are. If anyone opposes Kate's law, we'll absolutely tell you who they are. Also, you can get involved. We have a petition on BillO'Reilly.com that supports Kate's law. We hope you sign it. And we'll forward the petition to the House and Senate leadership as well as to the White House. More than 4 million people a night watch this program. If we get 4 million signatures on that, that'd be quite something. It is long past time for the Congress of the United States to protect the American people. Every president since Ronald Reagan has not done so. So Congress must act on illegal immigration. This sanctuary city business has got to end. Any American city, town, or county not cooperating with Homeland Security should immediately lose federal funding. Enough is enough. And that's the memo. Now for the top story tonight. Reaction. With us, the former mayor of New York City, Rudy Giuliani. First of all, am I overstating it when I hold the mayor and city supervisors of San Francisco partially responsible for this young woman's death?
No, there's no excuse for not reporting someone who has a criminal conviction, is accused of a crime. There's no excuse for not keeping the person in custody.
Right. That's what I was going to say.
When they are asked to keep them in custody. I've been on every side of this issue for 25 years, including at one time in charge of Immigration and Naturalization Service as Associate Attorney General. And I dealt with it as a prosecutor, prosecuted many of them, and also as a mayor. And the simple fact is, the only way this stops is we got to stop it at the border. We have got to stop illegal immigrants from coming into the United States. It would be simpler to do that than it was to reduce crime by 60% in New York.
Okay, we'll get to that in a moment. And I think most of our viewers, and certainly I want to stop the border craziness. But you wouldn't oppose Kate's law, would you?
I would. I'd make one amendment to it. It would have to be an illegal immigrant who was deported for some kind of criminal act.
Okay.
Not someone...
A criminal alien.
Let's take the people who pick grapes in Napa Valley.
But they have to be held accountable, too, if they're deported. They can't just be coming back forth.
Here's the fact that happens. You're not going to have California wine. Arnold Schwarzenegger cut off the border, and
then we have to get a guest worker program to get the wine.
But so here's what we have to do. It gets a little more complicated. I agree. If a criminal is let back here, the person should be prosecuted, sent to jail for 5 years, mandatory minimum sentence. However, we have to stop them from coming in, and then we have to let people come in who are going to do work that we need.
That the industries need, and they would go through proper channels to tell.
You have to do that.
Right. And nobody opposes that. If industry needs a certain amount of labor, it should be done methodically and legally. All right. You want to secure the border how?
Okay. Very simple. We have 50 Border Patrol stations. We space them 40 miles apart. We man them with 500 Border Patrol agents each. We deploy cameras, night vision cameras, and then you have available to you on any shift at least 200 to 300 Border Patrol agents that can stop anybody from coming into the United States. You institute a CompStat program like we use for crime in New York, and then over a period of time you'll shift those agents a bit, because what the immigrants will do, the illegal immigrants will do, they'll find the point where they can get in. You got to move with them, and you do this for 2 years, and you can cut it down to nothing. At the same time, you make it easy to get a visa.
Easier. I mean, we don't want people masquerading.
Easy means fingerprinted, photographed, identified, pay taxes, pay Social Security, and then go pick the grapes in Napa Valley.
You told me before we started this segment that you've used this.
I've given this plan to 2 different countries.
Which countries?
One is Colombia, and the other is we're developing it for El Salvador. Okay,
and they have a problem with people coming into their country illegally, both of them, Colombia and El Salvador?
Colombia in particular, with Venezuela, tremendous.
Right across the border.
Right.
So it's working in Colombia?
I haven't started it yet. We've just given them the plan.
Okay, so your theory is, instead of building the massive wall...
I'm okay with the massive wall.
Oh, you are okay with that?
But, wall, fence, anything that stops them. But just to have a wall isn't going to do it.
You got to have the personnel behind the wall.
You have to have the personnel behind the wall who can stop them with a accountable system like a CompStat system that tells you where are they coming in and how do we deploy these people. It would require 20,000 Border Patrol agents. We presently have about 22,000, so maybe it would be an additional 5,000 or 6,000.
Certainly it would be worth it to do that, but there's no will to do it from Ronald Reagan.
That's the point.
There's no will. They don't want to do it.
This has to be solved because there are economic reasons for the people coming over. There are economic reasons for why people come here. Then was the problem Donald Trump had. He never pointed out the fact that, yes, most of the people coming over are coming over for economic reasons, but hidden with them are murderers, rapists, drug dealers, and now we have to worry.
But isn't it a scandal that this guy...
this is outrageous.
5 times? And he's got 7 felony convictions.
My policy in New York was I would beg the Immigration Service to deport the drug dealers and the criminals. And they would deport sometimes, before the drug dealers and the criminals, the guys who were working in the back of the restaurant.
All right, so it has to be reorganized. But the fact is, if we get Kate's law, any criminal alien deported comes back mandatory. It's just like the mandatory drug sentence.
No question about it. 5 years.
So you would say to everybody in Congress, you got to get on this.
Absolutely, no doubt about it.
And I hope the Republican contenders and Hillary Clinton, although we have a very interesting soundbite we're going to play you tomorrow from Hillary Clinton on the sanctuary city business. Mr. Mayor, thanks for coming in. We appreciate it.
Thank you.